Well, a trailer just came out for the most anticipated movie musical of the year. I'm talking, of course, about Folie, Deux, the sequel to 2019's Oscar-winning, billion-dollar grossing character study on the iconic Batman villain. To be honest, I wasn't the biggest fan of the first Joker film. For a character study, I think I found the Joker / Arthur's characterization to be a bit surface level, and I think I also found the story and themes a bit. But one thing that I did really appreciate about that film was the musical score by Icelandic composer Hildur Guðnadóttir, who, like myself, is a cellist. And her score for the first Joker makes probably the most prominent and innovative use of the cello that maybe I've ever seen in a film. It's a great showcase of the cello's lower range and its unique texture, and also its fluidity both in pitch and intensity. And it really draws you into the troubled, unsettled mind of the character, and creates a very immersive soundscape for the film. So when they first announced the sequel and said that it was going to be a musical and added Lady Gaga to the cast, I was definitely intrigued. They did such a great job with the music in the first film, so I thought it was really bold to, I guess, push that forward and make the music an even more central component of the sequel. It's been pretty interesting seeing some of the reactions to this. I think the fact that it's a musical has by far been the biggest discussion point, and also source of controversy. People nowadays seem to be a little bit turned off by the idea of movie musicals, and I think you can see some of this reflected in the way that studios go about marketing them. I can think of several films that were released at the end of last year that most people probably had no idea were even musicals before they were released. So I guess Folie Deux is charting some divisive territory here, but I'm definitely very interested in how it will incorporate the musical aspect, and I guess what kind of impact it'll have on people's attitudes towards movie musicals. So yeah, let's check out the trailer.
Let's go, boys. It's showtime. Wakey, wakey.
Hey, Fleck, you got a joke for us today?
We use music to make us whole, to balance the fractures within ourselves.
Very cool, very cool. So they're introducing the musical premise of the film here, kind of setting it up as a way for the characters to project their thoughts and feelings. And underneath that, there's this twinkly piano that almost sounds like it's underwater. So it's kind of creating this feeling of like a dream state, where I guess the music can be used to go between the real world and the inner world of the characters.
I'm nobody. I haven't done anything with my life like you have.
Yeah, okay, so adding Lady Gaga into the mix, I looked up what Folie Deux means, and I guess it's a term for like shared psychosis, so that's a cool idea. Not only does it obviously have Deux in the title for the sequel, but it's also that kind of like aliens idea where the first film, it's just him, now there's two of them. And you hear that timpani at the same time that she points her fingers to her temple, and the brass and the harp. These are all very typical elements of like show tunes, so you hear the music basically ramping up to this idea of a big musical number.
Let's get out of here.
Okay, I love this. Of course, now they're transported to this alternate reality, which is set up very much like a stage musical. And then you also hear this big harp solo, which, like many things, in my opinion, the Nutcracker is the blueprint. If you listen to the beginning of the Waltz of the Flowers, is a very similar harp solo, and of course the Nutcracker is all about being transported to this alternate fantasy world.
What the world needs now is a love, sweet love. It's the only thing that
Yeah, very cool. Classic Burt Bacharach song here. I saw in an article that there's going to be apparently 15 big songs in this film. I guess I'm curious if this is just a song that they picked for the trailer or if it's going to be one of those songs in the actual film. I remember in the trailer for the first Joker, they had Send in the Clowns by Frank Sinatra, and then in the actual film they had That's Life, another Frank Sinatra song, really prominently featured. So it could be that this Burt Bacharach song isn't in the actual film, but that there's other Burt Bacharach songs in the film. When I was growing up, my parents had this big CD collection of like all of Burt Bacharach's songs, and I remember a number of them having a bit of like an eerie feeling to them. One of them I can remember is called Paper Maché, which is all about the monotony and emptiness and fakeness of material society, and I feel like that's could be very on brand for this franchise.
Tell us, what's changed, Arthur?
I'll tell you what's changed. I'm not alone anymore. That's what we should be talking about.
Okay, yeah, so you get to see a few more of these musical style sets. I guess if there's 15 songs in the film, they must not all be like the same style of stage musical. Not only would that already be like a lot of the runtime, but I think that might just get a little bit repetitive. So I think it'll be interesting to see which songs they end up doing in this kind of like stage musical style, and I guess what other ways they incorporate some of those 15 well-known songs.
I want to see the real you.
Great use of music. Great use of music. So they're definitely not shying away from the musical aspect, and I would say that that's actually probably the biggest thing that the film has going for it right now. Not only is that generating so much discussion and intrigue around the film, but I also just think that artistically that's a very gutsy and interesting direction to take the franchise. The first film, I really don't think needed a sequel in terms of plot. I already mentioned at the beginning that I thought the plot was a little bit thin, and just from this trailer and I guess the overall premise of the sequel, I would say it's already kind of shifting my perspective on the first Joker, where it's not really like logically where does the story go from here, but it's more about how can we use the medium of film to have you step into the shoes of these characters and experience the world through their eyes. I think that's a really cool choice, and I think that kind of unexpected, unique approach is something that I would like to see a lot more of in comic book movies and sequels, both of which seem to kind of dominate the movie market these days. Well, let me know some of your thoughts. Are you on board with the idea of this being a movie musical? And I guess what are some of the things that you're hoping to see or hoping not to see in this film? Thanks for checking out the trailer with me, and I'll see you soon.